Yo, 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 yo. What's good with it? It's your homie Mac, music, art, culture, knowledge. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel 82 Kings. Follow the movement on Instagram at MacTV_82. It's the homie Mac. It's real over here, man. We nerd out over here on 82 Kings. Yeah, reporting live from the Dogon. Peace and love to all. Real quick, this is not a Mac Minute session. This is the episode. This is a podcast episode. The last one I did was episode 9, the FBI War on Black America. But real quick, I took a lot of copious notes, did a lot of research, and upon actually sitting down and deciding to record this, I decided to discard my notes and just have an organic conversation to anyone who wants to listen. Again, I appreciate all the likes, the shares, the comments, the subscribers, new subscribers. Welcome to the family, Mac TV. Again, music, art, culture, knowledge. But yeah, let's get to it. I want to talk about Karl Marx, the Gangster Disciples, or Growth and Development, Larry Hoover, and capitalism, illegitimate capitalism, just the functionality of capitalism. Yeah, so as we know, Karl Marx was a revolutionary, a social scientist, a writer, very brilliant man. He was born in the Kingdom of Prussia, which was a confederate of Germany. Yeah, he pretty much championed communist thought. He was the yin and yang. He was the yang to the capitalist yin. Yeah, him and the homie Frederick Engels. Shout out to Frederick Engels. They came together and created a very formidable paradigm that resonates to this day. I would say that from my research that Karl Marx was not necessarily appreciated during his lifetime, but his sweat equity, the hours and the times that he spent writing and researching, it resonated it resonated beyond his lifespan. Lenin adopted his own. Lenin added on to a lot of Marxist theories, so on and so forth. Yeah, even to this day, you have regimes that exist to this very day that adopted a lot of Marx's postulates, theories, what have you. But yeah, so that's Karl Marx. He said something that always resonated with me. He said, philosophers have, what did he say? He said, and this is not verbatim, but this is the gist of it. Philosophers have interpreted the world. However, the point is to change the world. And I would say Marx has inspired me in a lot of ways to study social theory, try to figure out, find systems and patterns within society, and ask myself, why do these things exist? How can we enhance life? This is not a Marx session solely. I'm not a Marxist by definition, but I think that he had much merit in the things that he said. I think a lot of his critiques on capitalism were very legitimate. I have no aim to overthrow capitalism. I'm not trying to take over anything, but I think that there are things about our economic infrastructure in this country that need to change, that need to shift, that need to become more humane. Hate it or love it, that's just how I feel. Yeah, so Karl Marx. Now, let's shift it. I gotta say one thing. I am heavily influenced by the social and political writings of Dr. Huey P. Newton, R.I.P. Huey P. Newton. And Huey P. Newton was inspired by a man that inspired Marx, Hegel, with the whole concept of dialectics, the whole yin and yang, and dialectical materialism. But that's Marx. Marx is dialectical materialism. But he added on from Hegel, and Huey was inspired by Hegel as well as Marx and Lenin. Because as we know, the Black Panther Party, they were not racist. They were anti-xenophobia, anti-oppression. They championed for the proletariat and the lumpen proletariat. but we got to keep going. Next, Larry Hoover. Larry Hoover is a very brilliant man. He's currently incarcerated. He's serving 6, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, 6 life sentences in a federal correctional facility, ADX, I believe, in Florence, Colorado. El Chapo was there. The Unabomber is there. And the homie that blew up the World Trade Center. Well, he's not my homie. I'm just saying the guy that blew up the World Trade Center. He is currently in the same correctional facility. And I heard John Gotti was there. Right now, I want to say Larry Hoover has been locked up for over 46 years. What else? Mr. Hoover, again, very brilliant mind, very intelligent. I would consider him a social theorist in a lot of ways. What else? What else was I gonna say? Yeah, Hoover's on a 23-hour lockdown. From what I was told, he can have no human contact. He can't talk to a lawyer. He can't talk to even guards. Like, this man only comes out 1 hour a day to probably exercise, take a shower, take a shower, exercise, stuff like that, eat. I don't know. But yeah, Hoover. I want to talk about. He was the leader of the Gangster Disciples. Again, some people call it growth and development. It has evolved. What I want to get at. I think the thing that was really dope about Hoover is he studied the politics of America and how systemically the only thing that separated the lumpen proletariat from the bourgeoisie was connections and opportunity. A lot of the people who were what do they say? There's a crook behind every castle. I mean, there's a lot of legitimacy to that, and I think Mr. Hoover used his ecosystem to make the most out of what he could at that time. It is what it is. I'm not anti-Hoover necessarily. I think there was a lot of legitimacy seeing how he evolved in his politics, in his understanding of the world, and realizing, there are some things that he did that were not necessarily the best, that became somewhat of a cancer, that became rife with exploitation and death and murder. Specifically, let me talk about Cabrini Green. Cabrini Green, a housing project in Chicago, no longer exists. It is the scene. Candyman took place in the film. Candyman took place in Cabrini Green, and my inner child is jumping up and down and feels at peace because I found out the guy that played Candyman, he was actually scared on the shoot, because he scared me. But it's just funny to find out he was scared when they were shooting Candyman, because they were actually sniper. The GDs had sniper posts, and he said it scared him just seeing, like, I might get shot, I might die. But anyway, I know that's kind of morbid. But anyway, yeah, Cabrini Green. It was near the Gold Coast. I want to say on the south side of Chicago. Gold Coast being the business district of Shaw City, Chicago. And you say Shaw City. Shout out to all my Chicago realists, the Shaw City. I want to say, you can see the John Hancock building from Cabrini. From the Cabrini Green, you can see the John Hancock building and the Sears Tower. But Cabrini Green was a hellhole. You got a documentary called 70 Acres in Chicago. There's a YouTube video called what is it? Ambassadors of Cabrini Green. I'll put the links down in the description so y'all can check it out. And I think one of Marx's criticisms, and I know I'm bouncing around a lot, but one of Marx's criticisms of capitalism was eventually it's going to eat itself. It's going to turn on itself, and it's going to exploit people. And I want to say, in context of the GDs and Cabrini Green, and Robert Taylor, another housing project, and Ickes, I-C-K-E-S, Ickes project, Ickes projects in Chicago, it got to the point where they were making so much money, but they were feeding off the people. They were exploiting the people. You had little boys and girls scared to get shot going to school. You had people who they wouldn't even eat dinner in their living room or the kitchen center because they feared stray bullets coming in. So they would eat in their bedrooms, or they would actually, whenever they heard shots, they would all run into the closet, or they would sleep in the tub to try to duck gunfire. And people should not feel oppressed where they live. Where you live, your home is your sanctuary. And what I'm saying is essentially the greed of capitalism. I feel like a lot of the GDs, and this isn't limited to the GDs, this isn't even limited to gangs, this is limited to corporate America. They've done a lot of exploitive things. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, people should not fear where they live. You know, and then just hearing about, and the thing is that a lot of the terrorism that was wreaked in the public housing in Chicago, it wasn't necessarily solely at the hands of the gangs. A lot of it was due to the businesses. And when I say the businesses, like the Chicago, well, not necessarily businesses, the Chicago Housing Authority, they didn't take the time to upkeep the community, to do the plumbing, to do the sewage systems and the water pipe, well, plumbing. That's plumbing. There wasn't and the lighting. Nobody would go to try to fix it. But I understand some people wouldn't fix it because they were scared. Like I heard how in Cabrini Green they would actually bust down walls, and some buildings were just strictly for selling dope. And some of the walls that were busted down, they would just run through them to hide from the police. And when I say essentially, let me slow down. What I'm saying is they pretty much created war posts, a means by which they could hide from the police. A means by which they had, again, sniping posts. I remember seeing an interview with a guy that grew up in Cabrini Green. He said it was nothing to walk down the street. I want to say it was Federal Street, Federal Way, whatever. That's like a main strip that was in Cabrini Green. He said he could remember just walking down the street and then seeing bodies just drop. That's Beirut. That's warfare. People that were the residents of Cabrini Green were living on the battlefield. You know, it is what it is. And I guess essentially what I'm getting at is, again, a lot of the gangs, they learned their capitalism, they learned their greed and capitalism from corporate America. Corporate takeover. And the thing is, they always say well, not always, but a lot of times the lumpen proletariat and the proletariat will adopt the worst forms of capitalism off the premise of survival. And again, Marx was just saying how capitalism would turn on itself and eventually would implode. So it's tragic that you had a group of people that came from poverty who would exploit other people, the residents of these public housing projects. What else I got for you? I believe at one point there was they were selling dope out of the different buildings in the projects in Cabrini Green, and at one point there was a tax. So however much money they made that day, they had to pay a tax to the chiefs or the powers that be within the GD nation, and as a consequence of that, some of the guys were like, "No, we're not doing that. We're not going to sit here, risk our lives, move this work, make our money, and then we got to give you a large chunk of of our sweat equity. We got to give that to you? Nah, y'all, and to use Marx's terminology, y'all aren't even the owners of the means of production. We're out here hustling. You know, we got the dope, we pushing the work, we doing our thing, and I got to give you a cut? I'm risking my life, I'm risking my freedom? Nah, G, I'm not giving you a bigger cut. There's no way you're going to walk away making more money than me. How are you going to see a bigger return than me when I'm out here risking my life? So what happened? The GDs in this particular building, they turned against the whole projects. They were like, look, we're not paying the tax. If we got to bust it out, slug it out, we got enough guns to go to war with a small republic. That's how they felt. So we just going to slug it out. We're going to thug it out. We're going to do what we got to do. And that speaks to what Marx said, how eventually the greed and the consumption, how capitalism will eventually turn on itself. That manifested within Cabrini Green. It manifested within Horner Homes. It manifested within Robert Taylor. You know, just the level of greed and exploitation. It's just a perpetual cycle. You got a society of victims victimizing other victims. That makes sense? Just rewind, play that back. But yeah, I just, again, I don't think everything is right with communism. I think even communism implicitly creates its own caste system where someone who pretty much is in control dictates everything for everybody else, and there leaves a large gap in wealth disparity. You know, but yeah, what am I getting at? You know, I want you guys to walk away with the understanding that just because somebody, just because somebody is impoverished, it doesn't make them a bad person. They're just trying to survive, and it's just real jacked up in the context of survival. Sometimes they end up stepping on a lot of other people, you know, and I think it was excuse me, Kwame Nkrumah who said capitalism is but a gentleman's form of slavery. Yeah, we can run with that however you feel is how you feel. But yeah, it just sucks that people, the whole Skinner box theory, how I feel like the hood is Skinner box, how it's like this thing that exists that is like a social experiment. The projects essentially were a social experiment. I know Atlanta has since destroyed all their public housing. I think Atlanta is the only major city that has actually done so. But yeah, capitalism is a cutthroat game. But I think that capitalism can be humane. I just feel like a lot of times it can go too far and extreme, and it precipitates greed. You know, so there has to be a we-centered mentality. You know, it makes no sense to have billionaires and trillionaires, you know, that live in the same country as people who can't even afford basic amenities. I feel like poverty is not. I feel like poverty essentially is a byproduct of institutional failure. You know, how are our schools? Are we training people to be productive citizens? Are we training people and giving them the skills necessarily to be law-abiding citizens, productive citizens? You know, what are we really doing? But yeah, another thing I heard, a part of Larry Hoover's political evolution, Century 21. I think they were giving government grants, and Larry Hoover was even going as far to